Here I have a presentation for you, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for having me here today. Our talk today is on beginning again. And so let's start this talk today with a sacred breath, not to fix anything, not to accomplish anything, but to simply arrive energetically so that we are fully present. So let's take this moment to just breathe. So inhale with me if you will. And then exhale and release, letting yourself land right here, right now, and to know that this moment is holy. And so, um, this talk is about coming back to ourselves. And of course, it's Father's Day. So, I wanted to take some time to just honor that, right? All right, here we go. We are sitting on June 15th today, and we're nearly halfway through the year. And I wonder how many of us feel just a little off track. Now, remember January when we were really enthusiastic about 2025 and we made all these plans and set all these goals, had all these intentions, right? And just to remember what it was like back in January. And now we're sitting in June, and maybe some of that has faded, or maybe life has surprised you. For some of us, it derailed us, maybe even quietly wore us down. And if we're honest, some of us might be drifting a bit. So I wanted to talk about this and to let you know that if that happens, it's totally normal and you're not behind. You're simply being called to begin again. Now, Emmett Fox says we are always only one thought away from a new beginning. And so that is where we're at right now. This is the top, the new beginning. Okay, so there's a beautiful teaching from Zen Buddhism called Shoshin, Shoshin, and that's the beginner's mind. It's the idea that every moment is new, every single breath. Every breath is a fresh invitation to meet life with openness, with curiosity, with softness, no matter how much that we've lived or lost, we can always return again and again and again to the presence of this moment. And I'm sitting here in a presentation on Sunday service, and I'm talking about beginning again because it seems pretty stable. But when we're out there engaging with life, it's dynamic. Things happen, and we get to remember that our breath is always with us, that life is not fixed. Life is fluid, and your spirit was made to flow with it. And also, beginner's mind doesn't mean forgetting. It means unburdening, releasing what we think we know so that we can meet life and ourselves with reverence again. And so here I have a quote from Unity founder Charles Fillmore. He says, "Let us learn to be still and let truth speak through us." And so this, my friends, is where we're going to begin to touch the deeper invitation of today's day, Father's Day. Okay. And so today, we've been talking about it for as long as the service has started, right? We're going to honor fathers in all of its complexity. For some, this day brings warmth and gratitude. For others, it brings grief, distance, longing, or a deep ache from absence. And so we hold space for it all. And so I want to just take a moment here to honor the fathers who showed up with love. And let's acknowledge those who couldn't or didn't and the impact that left. And also, we want to bring in, of course, the father spirit within us as well, right? So let's remember that our first experiences of provision. Now, this is about the impact of father figures. So we're going to remember our first experiences of provision, of safety, of discipline or protection that often came or didn't come from a father figure. And beyond our earthly fathers, of course, there's the archetype father, the archetypal father within. It's the spiritual energy that lives in us, that inner strength of, or the inner source of strength, of support, of divine provision and right action. So, whether or not your physical father offered that to you, this inner father, the God within us all, always, always can. And so from Second Corinthians, it says, I will be a father to you, and you will be my sons and daughters. And of course, our famous Eric Butterworth, Reverend Eric, says, God is the infinite source of all supply, right where you are. And so we know this. We know this because we teach it, we study it. And my question is, how do we practice knowing? How do we practice embody and integrating knowing that God is the infinite source of all supply? All right. So we're going into the talk, the study, the teaching now, right? Because this is our community. We talk, we study, we teach prosperity, and we teach abundance. And so, okay, I'm going to go into a talk a little bit about that and what I've learned, right? So I'm going to take a breath. I invite you to do that with me. Always good to take a breath. So here it is. Our relationship with money, because money is the physical manifestation of abundance. We are immersed in it. We can't get away from it. Often our relationship with money reveals how we've been integrated into this father energy within. Because guys, money isn't just about numbers, it's energy. And it is this energy that reflects how safe we feel, how grounded we feel on this earth, how supported we are, right? How supported we allow ourselves to be, whether we trust that life can hold us or will hold us, or whether we even feel worthy to receive. How many of us give and give and give? And when it comes to receiving, we're like, oh, no, no, not me, right? So if we've internalized an absent or angry or withholding father, we might subconsciously believe that provision must be earned through a lot of work, a lot of striving, a lot of busy, or maybe just suffering, or that we're never quite enough to receive. So take a breath, receive that breath. But when we begin again, my friends, from consciousness, from groundedness, we remember that the universe is not our Father's wallet. It's an ever-giving source, this wellspring that we talk about, the fountainhead of abundance. And healing the Father within brings healing to our sense of prosperity and belonging. So if you take a look at the slide, I have some quotes here, one from the Bible. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. We all know this saying, and it's just an invitation to really consider that based on what I just said. Catherine Ponder, who's also a minister with us, she teaches prosperity. She says, as long as you believe that supply comes from outside yourself, you will be a beggar. But that when you know that God is source, you are free. You are sovereign. You are sovereign. Okay. So the father wound. Okay. So this is what we mean metaphysically by the father wound, right? It's left an imprint when we don't feel safe or supported or seen by the masculine energy in our lives, whether that was from our earthly father or the inner father archetype. So we get to heal that. We get to be present to that, to feel it, and to really consider that. And this shows up not just in our relationships, but in how we approach the idea of provision, about how we trust life to carry us, how we believe we have to earn love or to deserve to rest. And alongside of that, many of us carry the mother wound, yin yang, can't have one without the other. Now, so the mother wound is that ache of not being nurtured emotionally attuned to, or fully accepted for exactly who we are, how we show up, what we are, right? And it's that wound that can shape our sense of worthiness, of self-love, and ability to receive. And together, these two energies, Father and Mother, Father, Mother, God, lives within us, that they are meant to guide, to hold, and to nourish us. But when we're wounded, we often find ourselves striving or stuck or silently starving for wholeness, right? We're yearning for it. We're not yet one and integrated. And so when we say life meets us at our level of consciousness, we're also saying you meet yourself at your self-love. You meet money at your level of inner safety. You meet relationships at your level of emotional inheritance. And that's why beginning again is so sacred. It's a sacred practice. And it's not just about resetting goals, although I did start with that. I had to get your attention. It's actually about reclaiming your inner parents and becoming the divine mother and the divine father to yourself. Now, we affirm this at every service and every meeting that we have, that there's only one presence and one power as the universe and as my life. God the good, omnipotent. That's our unity principle number one, right? And so I got ahead of myself there. And so, we want to consider that in the context of all of this. So here we go. I'm going to share with you a personal story. So my very own father, he's passed away. He's transitioned, gosh, I'm like probably more than 10, 12 years ago. But I was separated from my father for 10 years. So from the time I was 5 to the time I was about 15, my father was not in my life. And then we finally reunited after a decade. And I learned all these things I did not know about my father, because as a young child, being 5 years old, I was taught by my mother that, father's really good. And I used to write letters to him, and I dreamt of the day that we would reunite. Um, and when we finally reunited, I learned that he had another family. And I didn't even realize that that was a thing. It broke my heart. When he came back into my life, I learned that he had the illness of alcoholism. And so he was very violent, very sick, and just not balanced, as we would say, right? So as a child, being a teenager, I was told not to ask any questions. We can't talk about it. You know how that goes. It's family stuff. We don't want to put our dirty laundry out to dry, to stay quiet, to stay silent, to make peace with whatever that is, and to just accept it. And that silence could have become a wall in my heart. I could have just stuffed it down and made a big ball of shame. And for a while, I had to process that. But over the years, I made a choice. And in every moment that it became really difficult for me to really understand, I chose to begin again. Not because everything made sense, but because I knew healing would only happen through my own willingness. I needed to be the one to take the step forward. I needed to be willing to feel, to see, to soften, and to love anyway, to love anyway. And so from the book of Psalms, here's a prayer. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. So, so beautiful. This goes into a little bit of ancestral healing and also spiritual responsibility. And here's the deeper truth. Here's the deeper truth and why I took the first step forward. I knew that if I don't heal it, I would pass it on to my children. And so if we don't heal it, we will pass it on. It's the energy that we're embodying, that we're bringing, right? We inherit not just our genes, but our patterns, our ways of being, fear, shame, scarcity. silence. But we also inherit strength and courage, love, choice, healing. Healing is how I love forward. This is what I'm passing on, decidedly. So, how do you love forward, my friends? You know, so loving forward means including the healing my relationship with money. And with money, it's not just my bank account. This is all prosperity consciousness, right? But it's also for my soul, not just for me, but for those who will live on after me. Louise Hay, the late Louise Hayes, she says, as we heal ourselves, we help heal the world, which is so, so beautiful and so, so true. And so, my friends, life meets you not at your resume, not at your hustle, not even at your goals, but at your level of consciousness. And, I really shouldn't be talking about hustle because I'm talking to, the keys. It's really laid back and amazing there. But in greater society, it's the hustle is in our energy. I got to do this to get that. I've got to do this to be worthy. I've got to do it. It's the human doing syndrome, right? And so at the energy you embody, that's where life meets you, at the truth of where you're willing to live. And so the promise of your life, goodness, miracles, abundance, prosperity, is proportionate to the depth of your faith. So, Matthew, according to your faith, be it done unto you. And this is the real work of abundance, guys. This is what it means to begin again. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life, which is really beautiful. And so, I'm talking about money, I'm talking about abundance, I'm talking about prosperity. And if this speaks to something in you, if you know that there are beliefs living beneath the surface that it's time to bring into life, into light, I created something for you, and I'm going to just share it with you. It's called a healing starter kit, particularly the money healing starter kit. It's free. You can download it. There's a website address here on the presentation. And it's not about budgets. It's about beliefs, and it's a gentle doorway into freedom. So I'm inviting you into that. All right. So here's the call to presence. And I leave you with this. If the first half of the year didn't go as planned, if your heart is tender or your faith is wobbly, let this be your moment. You can begin again, not from guilt, not from striving, but from love, from clarity, from truth. The truth that your life is still yours to reclaim. And so here's another Second Corinthian quote. Now is the accepted time. Behold, now, right here, right now is the day of salvation. And so I have an affirmation up on the screen. I'm going to say it the first time, and I'm going to leave space for you to repeat it either in consciousness or aloud. So go ahead and exhale. And we're going to inhale to begin. Exhale again, get grounded. Okay. I choose to begin again. Repeat. I choose to begin again. I am willing. Repeat. I am willing. I am ready. Repeat. I am ready. I am free. Repeat. I am free. And so it is. Amen. Okay, friends, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me here today, and a special Thanksgiving and acknowledgement to our platform team today. They are so marvelous to work with. What a wonderful community of collaboration and a manifestation of the real spirit of abundance. Money is one of the clearest mirrors we have, and it reflects not just in our habits, but in our consciousness and our community. And so I want to just take a moment here and just say thank you and invite us into just getting grounded, taking a breath, and in integrating everything that we've just received, and to take a moment to just breathe in the message, feel yourself in your body, and begin to turn inward and allow the music to hold you, that Chris is going to bless us with, and to soften you into a sacred pause, simply to relax and be here now with open hearts and empty hands to integrate what's moving in us.